Well, I was going to go down to the river this evening and move to a different spot in the river where it's not so noisy and see if I could catch a few of those bears coming out in the evening and share some emails, but I'm too lazy. I'm done. But I did have it in my mind that I was going to share some more before bedtime, so that's what I'm doing right now in the shop. And side note, it's funny, you know, most of the game animals that I've harvested, I usually got a lot of history with them, each one. Sounds kind of funny, but I've been a selective hunter for the better part of my hunting now. It's just what I prefer to do. I am fortunate enough to have the time to selective hunt, meaning I want to wait until I find that mature animal, this past its genes on enough. This past its prime is probably going to become wolf food this winter, possibly, more than likely. And those are usually the animals that I target when I have time to put in my freezer. And I've got some history with that moose behind me. He's actually in a video on YouTube. I got a few years history with this big old buck beside me here. Great stories and great memories go along with it. And as well, they fed me and friends and family as well at the same time, right? It's all a very, very healthy thing to do, is hunting for your own sustenance, as most people know. But anyway, different topic. Let's get on with more shares. I'm really liking the sharing lately. I'm learning a lot. I'm anticipating some more replies with people who have emailed me with questions, wanting to know if I want to know something, etc., and it's coming. So what do we got? This is marked as red as usual. Strange encounter while trail riding. Hello, 3 days before typing this email up, at the end of July 2021, I was riding down an OHV trail in the Red Bird Game Reserve in southeastern Kentucky. I've lived in this state all my life. Let me tell you, there's more going on here than meets the eye, as there is in every state and every province, my friend. Anyway, I was riding down the trail in my small commuter car, and I mean a small Ford Fusion is larger. I have no ATV or dirt bike or side-by-side, so I have to do what I can with what I got. Right on, man. I got 7 miles back in, and back there the forest is open, a few low bushes and nothing but large trees. After I got turned around at the end of the trail and started to back out, I got stuck coming back up a hill that was graded but unpacked. The road was made up of a base of red clay covered in a thin layer of coarse gravel. Ugh, not the best surface, dry and unpassable when wet. It was wet. I slid up into a ditch and the car was as stuck as a ship on a sandbar. It didn't matter what I would have been driving. If it didn't have a winch, I wasn't getting out. So I grabbed my water and started hoofing it back towards the main road, 7 miles out. Didn't have to go more than a quarter mile until I caught cell service. One tiny bar of data roaming, so not much. I called emergency services and kept walking. The whole time there were normal sounds of the forest, birds, frogs, bugs, etc. Suddenly, the sounds of the forest stopped dead, and I mean everything. Bear in mind the sounds were there from when I buried my car up to then, so it wasn't because of me. It was still enough, even the dispatcher heard it. Then I got this overwhelming feeling that I was being watched, and I felt like I was in danger. I mean, 4 alarm fire levels of the sixth sense going off. Dead silence, except for the distant sound up the ridge of large footsteps, then a very unnatural chirp. Very loud and sounded less like a bird, more like when a smoke detector battery runs low and starts beeping at you. This chirp happened at regular intervals for about 10 minutes, all the while going around in a large circle around me. It was like circling or maybe swinging wide around me. All the while this feeling kept getting more and more intense. Then I heard some branches breaking below me as well. Bear in mind the woods were clear other than large trees, so I could see all the way across the valley to the road on the other side and all the way up to the ridge top. Nothing in sight but trees and rocks. Then dead silence for about 5 minutes. Then the feeling started to subside and I heard the best sound I ever heard, the siren of the county sheriff. After that we rode back to the car, surprised the deputy by what and where I was stuck with. Went back and met up with a beast of a wrecker and got the car out. Everybody was a great bunch of guys, even got invited to ride on some private land that was an old strip mine. That's what happened. Bad feelings of imminent danger, strange sounds, and dead silence. I've been watching your channel for a while now and everything I've learned points to one thing. There was a forest passing through, and I disturbed him. There was a forest being passing through, and I disturbed him. Keep up the good work. Keep fighting those evil people trying to squash info by continuing to share these stories. My name is Big Joe. Feel free to say my name for all the world to hear. Have a good day. May you go with God in all your travels. Big Joe, thanks for that share, man. Glad you got out of there. Getting stuck sucks. Been there a few times. And let's get on with another one. Here we go. Ready? Let me mark this as red. Listen to this. Hey Steve, my name is Dustin Lewis. I'm from North Carolina, and thank you for being straight up about the truth. You're helping us all by being the man you are. Hey, thanks for the kind words, my man. Here's an encounter I had a while back. I was just sitting in the house and I heard my two dogs making weird sounding barking. Strangely, reminder, my dogs ate in fenced backyard. My grandmother and others have been hearing weird stuff outside our houses at night, so with my dogs doing the way they were, I quietly opened the front door to sneak around to the back, thinking someone was messing around our property. As I'm walking to the edge of the house, I hear something like it was messing around in the leaves. So me being as you are not scared of any man, I go around the house running towards the noise to catch the person, at least what I thought at the time. By the time I was halfway down, this being went from the woods beside our house, cleared a little opening gap to the woods behind our house, was real loud, and happened. That's all I got. I got a couple of photographs that I can't make out anything in them myself. Oh, hold on, here's another chunk here. Okay, so then I got another part 2 to this. There's 1, 2, there's what? 1, 2, 3 pictures? 2 pictures? And then some more text. I'll read it. Hey Steve, you may use my name and share these pictures if they can help someone. Thanks for what you're doing. My name is Dustin Lewis and I'm from North Carolina. I've been having strange experiences around a property. The first picture was the first time I'd run into these beings. I heard my 2 bully dogs making weird sounds I haven't heard. I went out front quietly. I heard what sounded like someone digging through leaves. I'm not scared of any man. So I took off around the house towards the backyard. This being cleared a gap clearing that is probably 8 feet, no problem, and landed in the woods. When this happened, I stopped running at full speed and fell down. But with so much adrenaline, I jumped back up to my feet, knowing it wasn't a person, and started taking pictures. The first picture is what I got. The second is from the stealth game trail camera. The time is wrong. It's actually PM. Scar Carpenter looked it over and told me there was definitely something there. Thanks for your tough work on helping those in need. You may show the pictures, maybe it could help someone somehow. Okay, man. Pictures are tough, like I said before, especially these ones as well. They're very tough for me. Blurry, circles around them. But thank you very much for those shares, okay, man? And share more. If you got something you think the people could benefit from, make sure you send it here, all right, man? Thanks for your time. Hey bro, I'm gonna send my encounters one at a time since I'm doing this on my phone. I'm not exactly sure of the year, possibly 2002. An old girlfriend and I camped on the edge of William O. Douglas Wilderness. After pitching our tent, we ate dinner and turned in for the night. Uneventful. I was woken early the next day by heavy footsteps on the gravel outside my tent, except there was no gravel in that area. I sat up and dropped the window flap to take a look at what was going on. Nothing. I've been using the camp spot in either one of 2 meadows since I was a very small boy. I know that the ground is mostly very hard packed clay with sandy remains of loose volcanic rock. Very easy to walk silently. This hard pack is covered by grasses, flowers, and skunk cabbage. If the one time was all this happened, I would have ignored it. That wasn't the case. We had a rain. A steady drizzle fell the most part of 2 days. Each time I'd secure us in the tent, the heavy, loud steps would almost immediately begin, almost like pacing. Each time I would start my attempts to see who was walking around us and exactly where this gravel was, it would stop. It was always close. I mean, reach out and touch them close. If I'd touch a zipper in the tent in an attempt to investigate, it would go quiet immediately. I'd eventually had enough. I grabbed my AR-10 and my .41 Remington mag and I took a walk around. The grasses were pretty well beat down, but no obvious tracks. While moving towards the cliff area about 3/4 mile away, I heard voices from the other side in the next meadow. I changed my direction to say hi and see if weird shit was happening to them. The more I'd walk in the direction of the voices, the stranger it became. All I remember thinking was, what the F? That's typical for me. I walked a good 2 miles, never getting closer or further away from the voices. I never understood a single word, but they sounded enthused about being there. Being confused about the situation, I returned to camp, not saying anything about the voices. I announced myself and entered the tent. My girl had found a twisted stick which resembled a cross or an X, and she was freaking out. At that point, so was I. She found it just outside the door. After my walk about and strange twisted gift, all abruptly stopped. Again, what the F? I have no explanation for this or many other encounters I've had or stories my father related to me about the crazy stuff that particular area has a habit of showing you. Sabe? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was him and a couple other experiences I've had in that general area. I'm still full of wonder and a little fear about what it was. How did it make that sound? What's up with the voices that I couldn't catch? I love it and hate it at the same time. Well, that's one of my encounters with high strangeness. Use my name if you wish. This is all honest to God truth. There's no reason to hide from it. Thank you for welcoming Open Forum. Awesome stuff. Rod Schrader, Union Gap, Washington. Rod, thanks a lot for that share, man. And you know what it was. But you know what? On that note, I would probably think about cautioning you on being lured into the woods after strange voices, especially if they keep getting farther away from you. I think just for me, if that happened to me, if I did say go from here across a driveway or something into that timber right there, 40 yards away to go investigate some voices, and then they move farther away, I'd go back to where I started and I'd be like, okay, I'm good, right? Just in case, especially if you're leaving your girlfriend behind, man. Just a thought for next time if it happens. But anyway, if you got anything else you want to share that'll help people, make sure you do it here, all right, man? Thanks for that share. Photos, huge footprints sending again. Hi, Steve. I know you're not big on receiving photos of Sasquatch footprints, but when it's someone's first sighting of such things, it really starts to sink in how real these beings are when you can't explain something you see with your own eyes. I'll share the photos and the location, but leave it up to you if you want to reveal the location or not. I don't need the black helicopter showing up, right? So just this weekend, March 19th, 21st, 2021, I took a hike with some hiking crew buddies in Jasper. We hiked on the Chaba Trail from the Sunwapta Falls to Big Bend Campground on the Athabasca River, about 6.5 kilometers. We camped there on Friday night, and on Saturday we took a snowshoe hike further up the dead end trail towards Athabasca Crossing Campground. Along the trail, we could see tracks in the snow where various animals had crossed over the trail and where other hikers had stepped off the trail to take a pee break. But then we came across the footprints in the snow that just baffled us. The stride between prints was 5 to 6 feet, and that was in 2 feet deep of snow. It looked like something had stepped off of the trail, headed higher up into the timber. There was no telltale drag marks that a snowshoe would typically leave behind. Explain that. Also, I put my trekking pole down between them as a reference to scale. The trekking pole was set at 4 feet long. 2 of our hiking crew are Canadian Forces veterans who served in Afghanistan and Iraq. These guys are not easily rattled. But as we stared at the prints, one of them said, quote, "If that's something walking on 2 legs, then that's effing massive." I'll also attach another weird photo from the same location. Not sure if it's related in any way. About 45 feet to 50 feet up between 2 trees was the length of a 3rd tree spanning between them. Didn't look as if it could have fallen from any other tree close by, but who knows. Keep up the positive sharing knowledge, Steve. God knows the world needs more of it every day. Gur Kiernan. Gur, thanks for that share, man. And I am very familiar with Jasper, and I'm very familiar with the numerous sightings in Jasper and Banff. More Jasper. And it seems to be the police, the RCMP in Jasper said flat out, the majority of the sightings are back towards the BC border, on that chunk back in there. For anybody curious who hangs around there much, all right? Although the sightings are all over the frickin' place, but I guess that's where they've had a lot of reports come into them, right? Here comes another one, and another, and another, and another, and another. Isn't it crazy? My encounter number 3, Tengtakuk, saved my life in Yosemite. Hello, Steve. I'm sure you think I'm a total lunatic now, but here it goes. Dude, everybody thinks I'm a lunatic by now. We're not alone. Number one, I don't search these guys out. They seem to find me whenever they wish. As I told you before, have moved halfway around the world and I'm raising my second family. I remain close to the coast and out of the woods. I travel on my motorbike daily and once a month head to another island to transfer money to my other account. That said, now back in 1968, I was living in North Hollywood. I put together a Boy Scout troop for kids that had nothing but city life to identify with. We had camped in the Devil's Punch Bowl in the Southern California desert, not too far away from Palmdale. I was told not to bring the boys back there, just something putting thoughts in my head. Summer finally came around and my ex and I decided to take the boys up somewhere for a week. I decided on Yosemite because there was lots of humans and park rangers, so it should be pretty safe there. We had several meetings with the boys and 4 other parents who wanted to tag along, so I knew I would be taking 11 kids and 5 parents that had never been out of the city. Wow, I couldn't even imagine that. What was I thinking? I carefully explained to everybody that no matter how cute and friendly the bears looked, do not try to pet, feed, or interact with them. They can and will eat you. They all laughed and I related, this is no joke. Here's information that will keep you alive, period. Finally, we load up all the gear, food, tents, clean water, ice chests, and miscellaneous gear. Everybody loaded into 2 campers and off we went on our merry way. 250 miles plus or later, we arrived in Yosemite. When we arrived, the campground was pretty full, so we camped on the southern end away from most folks. For the boys to earn their badges, they had to set up camp, prepare the food, and clean up after the mess. Day number 5, after breakfast, we all went down to the creek to swim. I had found a good swimming hole the kids could splash around in a couple days previous. We're all down to the creek swimming when I spotted a sow and 2 young cubs break the timberline. Across the creek, some idiot had left a broken watermelon in the meadow. I'm sure that's what they had smelled and were after. I told the kids, hey guys, we need to get back to camp so you have time to make lunch. I got them all headed up the trail, but my idiot girlfriend spotted the cute little baby bears. That moron went down to the creek to meet them and take pictures. What the F? I said, Kitty, we have to leave now. And trying to stay calm given the situation and speak in a non-threatening tone. I eased down to her and pinched the pressure point in her elbow, then whispered in her ear to get the F out of there now. She begrudgingly headed back up the trail when it fell apart. The sow started across the creek, 4 legs flaying. In the meantime, I had picked up 100 pounds plus stone and held it over my head. My hope was to injure her enough she would spend her time on me and not bother the kids. I didn't have my .44 mag or even a knife on my side. I'm not a tough guy and I was so scared I tasted metal in the back of my tongue. But I stood my ground because the kids mattered more. The interesting thing that happened next was this sow stood on her back legs with 4 legs spread not 10 feet in front of me. And she suddenly dropped down and went back to her cubs. Then I felt the hand on my shoulder. I turned around startled and there was Tenk Tatuk. Now a grown man. He said, little brother, how are you? I asked him, where is your father and mother? He said, they were gone now. Then he said, you were lucky I was here. You might have been food tonight or tomorrow. When we were kids, he was always much bigger than I was, but now, as adults, he was immense. A good 10 feet tall and at least 900 to 1,000 pounds. He was bigger than his dad, as I remembered him. I asked him, where is your sister? He said, she was in Yellowstone living with her family. I asked him how he got to Yosemite. He told me he knew I had watched them enter the granite cliff, and that's why his mother told me I could never come into their house. He then told me at the other end of the portal was not far from where we were standing. I could only say, wow, big brother. He told me to look over in the tree line and waved in that direction. That's when I saw his wife and small son. He told me I was lucky he was close by, otherwise I probably wouldn't have survived my encounter with Mama Bear. He also said if I was ever in Yellowstone, his sister would protect me. Time will tell. I'm still in Southeast Asia and I don't look for these guys. If they have something to say, they will find me. It's always been that way and I don't expect it to change. By the way, his dad and mother were killed by the US government. That should tell you volumes if you're tuned in, Steve. Keep doing what you're doing, bringing truth to the frightened ones. There are good and bad in every society, but I do know this. If these folks wanted you dead, you would never know what hit you. But here I go preaching to the choir, LOL. Stay safe and keep your head on a swivel, bud. Respectfully yours, Braun. Holy shit, Braun. You know, that is one hell of a story. Your average person who doesn't know much about this topic would probably go, what the hell was that guy smoking in the crack pipe today? Right? If you could send me more information, man, send me some knowledge about these beings that would make our eyeballs just pop right open, if you could. All right? Send us some knowledge. Son, if you've got that knowledge that we're seeking out to help us understand what the F is going on, send it. Okay, that goes for everybody. Send us the knowledge. We want to know everything. I do. I want to know absolutely everything before I bite it. In this lifetime, all right? Requested. Thanks again for sending me an email, man. Send me more. Requested Central Illinois Experience second email. Hi Steve, you recently asked someone with Central Illinois experiences to contact you. I did? I sent an email sometime around December 2020 about an experience I had in 1965 when I was 7. I don't believe it was read, and that is okay. I was emailing you again per your request. I spent a lot of my spare time in the woods. I live near Stevens Creek, where all the experiences have occurred. Boy Scouts had us hiking in many states, even crossing the Tetons from Idaho to Lake Jenny, Wyoming. I moved to Asheville, North Carolina after college for 30 years and hiked extensively in western North Carolina. It's weird that nothing happened in areas that I've had a lot of sightings, but all my experiences came from Central Illinois. My original sighting happened in the area of the woods where I hung out in from the time I was 5 until I got my driver's license. Never did I get bad vibes in that area. A friend of mine and myself got sprinted at from a long distance away by something that shook the earth. You could feel and hear the footsteps. We had to run towards footsteps to escape the area. Nobody had heard of Bigfoot in 65. We did not see anything and had no idea what it was. It was not until later when I asked myself, was that a Bigfoot? That was another part of the woods that did give me bad feelings, sometimes bordering on evil. That would keep me away from that area. I moved back to this area in 2012 to assist my mother's health issues. The city had built a bike trail right through the area I had issues with. I thought I wanted to see one of these things to remove all doubt as to what it was, but after listening to you and other people writing in, I think that maybe I shouldn't see one. I will go over a few incidents. I don't sleep well and I will get out of bed and walk instead of tossing and turning. One time around 3 a.m. I was walking towards a bike trail when 2 deer came running towards me. They passed me only 5 feet away and went into another section of woods. What in the world would make them do this? I looked towards the brush line and they would come from, but did not make out any movement. As I turned to go back, something called out. It didn't vibrate through me, but was too high a call for a coyote. 2 weeks later, as I was walking, again very late, I heard the same call, 250 yards east of the original call. I just waved and turned to continue my walk. Maybe a month after that, I was walking on the trail and came upon 3 individuals, 2 on my left, about 20 yards away, doing something at the creek. There was someone else bigger and had dark hair that moved behind a concrete support column the sewage pipes run on. I was waiting for this person to step out, but he stayed behind the column. I stopped and waited. What happened next happened at the same time. My vision became blurry and unclear. I was not thinking clearly either. Then something jumped 10 feet away from the column onto all fours. I couldn't see a tail or the head, and then it disappeared. Just then I thought I needed to get out of there, and I was not mind speak. It was not mind speak. I've stayed out of that area of those woods for a while. Recently I went for a hike and got growled at, so I turned and left. I'm curious to know what is out there, although it would be best to not see whatever it is. Bigfoot, dogman, werewolf, or one of the other beings out there that you allude to occasionally. There have been no missing persons or no one injured here that I'm aware of. Listening to your site for 2 years have made me somewhat timid. Something in these woods is aware of me. I don't go just everywhere like I used to. I don't carry a gun. I always hike alone. Are the ones from 56 years ago still around, or do I know these guys' dads or grandfathers? I just started enjoying retirement. I don't want to end up missing or have my face ripped off. Someday, the truth will prevail, but status quo is a powerful thing. My name is Doug, and I appreciate all your hard work and effort to keep so many. Good job, man. All right, man. Thanks for that share. Doug, just go with your guts. Just go with your gut feelings on everything, right? Our sixth sense is never wrong. Never. You know what? I just thought about it just now. I've never ever heard of anyone say they listened to their gut instincts and lost, or I listened to my sixth sense and lost. I've never heard it. I've never experienced it myself. Never. As long as you listen to your intuition, your sixth sense, your gut instincts, whatever you want to call it, you're going to win, you're going to stay alive. It's true. It's so true. What do we got here? Here's another one. Thanks for sending that in, man. Absolutely appreciate it. Stay safe out there, all right? Hi, Steve. Love your channel. Been listening for a couple of years. Okay, enough about my ass kissing. Thank you. My name is Basil Irvin. I'm a 63-year-old retired dairy farmer from the central Michigan area of the Lower Peninsula. Back in around 79 or 80, me and a girlfriend were shining deer on 11, and we turned a corner in the road next to a creek, and I turned the spotlight on out the driver's side window, and about 150 yards out in a hayfield was someone or something walking on two legs and was swinging its arms. It kept on a steady pace. It was all the same color head to toe. It looked at us and kept a pace. I can't remember if there was any eye shine or not. The thing that makes me think it could have been a Sasquatch is that if it was a person, you would think you would have waved or slowed down or had a flashlight. Anyway, my girlfriend freaked out and screamed at me to get the hell out of there, so I did, like a dumbass. I forget that I had my 10 by 50 binoculars on the damn dash. By the time I turned around and walked in a big, by the time I turned around, it had walked in a big swamp. Boy, was I pissed. Now, my other story is a little different. I love to hunt big white-tailed bucks, so when I was still milking cows, I had a trail camera mounted to my round bale barn next to a long plastic bag of high-moisture corn. When it snowed a few inches of the snow, the deer would hammer the corn. I'd find shed antlers in the corn. I put the camera there to see what bucks had survived from the long hunting seasons we have here in Michigan. Well, anyway, on January 2nd, 2017, I had a slip and a fall on the farm and broke a leg. Ugh. Leg bone and two ankle bones, and tore all my tendons off my ankle and completely dislocated my ankle. It looked like the Joe Theismann's ankle during the football game. That sucks. Anyway, during my surgery and recovery, my wife, who also loves and has shot her share of nice bucks, went down in March and took the chip out of the trail cam and brought it home and put it in the computer. Started to look at the pictures. She said, "You might want to hobble over and look at these pictures." The camera had snapped off some daylight pictures of a UFO and also a red orb. The timestamp on the pictures were taken over a 15-minute period on December 22nd, 2016. What triggered the camera, I believe, was the wind blowing some of the plastic on the feed bag. I sent the pictures to MUFON in Michigan, and they said they are definitely not pictures of any airplane or drone or any craft that we have and are truly UFOs. Steve, please share the pictures with the How to Hunt family, and God bless and stay safe and keep up the great work. All right, well, I don't have the pictures in the folder here. Hopefully when I'm doing the editing, I'll remember to search your email and grab those photos, and I'll share them. Thank you very much, and I hope you healed up back to normal, man. Wow, that's a hell of an injury. All right, one more, and that's all she wrote. I think I wrote an email to you a few months ago. With the amount of emails you have to sift through, I'm sure it may have got lost in the shuffle. I've never seen a Sasquatch in the 45 years of my time on Earth. I've seen lights in the sky and some wood structures. To give you a bit of my background, 24-year retired military veteran. I've served as a M1 armor crewman, military police, and military firefighter. I'm very aware of the secrecy that the military may force on its members, as I have held a security clearance. Your channel is a blessing, and it's a breath of fresh air from the normal crap displayed on this platform. I'd like to extend your channel. I know you don't want the recognition, but you have started something, and it's amazing. If you have a moment, please contact me. And a phone number. You know what? I've honestly never phoned a phone number from online, not once yet. I might, well, I will once I get this project done behind me, then it's game on, right? Jason, maybe email me again. Let me know a little more detail of what you're thinking, what you got in mind, and exactly what you mean, okay? Because you know, I've actually never, I've never done anything to promote this channel once. Never even asked anybody to like it, subscribe it, or share, or what they call hit the bell, or whatever that does. This topic isn't, how do I put this, say this? Sometimes it's easier to think it than it is to speak it, you know what I mean? Especially when you're this tired, but. This topic is of interest to people who know more than anyone else. This topic is of interest to people who know someone they love and trust with their life, who have heard someone share their story with them and they believe them. But this topic isn't something you can promote. I don't think it's something you can promote. You can't promote it to the general population, I don't think. The people that have tried, they ruined it. All those dirty, filthy, sleazy bastards who persisted in creating television shows for entertainment at this topic's expense, they really, really did some real nasty, shitty things to this topic, which directly affected the people who have seen these things without asking, right? So, but that's all that I know of is those people who try to promote themselves, promote their name, get in front of every frickin' movie camera they can, and they've done a very, very poor job. And that's an example of people trying to promote it, I think, right? But I think this channel's doing its own thing organically, possibly because there's no bullshit, none of the mainstream blow-ass names are involved here. And it's a voice for the people. I don't think you can do much more to promote something than letting people speak openly and honestly today, especially with this new invention of the internet and social media, right? And it is new for some of us little farts, we can still call it new, right? But anyway, I'm getting babbling on a bit here. I'm starting to think and speak at the same time, which means I'm kind of half awake. And I gotta go. But if you want to email me back again and share something with me that just might catch my attention, knee-jerk me into being interested, then go ahead and do it, my man, all right? Better than that, yeah, you're just gonna have to do that. Send me some more detailed thoughts of what it is you're thinking, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm starting to fall asleep. I'm done like dinner. I hope these shares help someone out there. And I hope if there's anybody out there that can help the people through me and with knowledge and experiences to send it in to me and share with everybody, and we'll get it out there. All right. See you guys shortly.